I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey, you guys, happy Tuesday and welcome back to the News du Jour. So before we launch into Ukraine updates and spend the bulk of our episode there, I wanted to give you guys a few quick other updates that are just kind of interesting things that don't really require a full story comparatively to everything else that's going on. Let's jump in. So first up, Barack Obama has COVID. He has said that he just has cold and flu symptoms so far, nothing bad. He's feeling fine. So I just wanted to give you guys that update. And then we had covered, I forget how long ago it was, maybe a month ago, 2 months, that Tom Brady was ending his football career. Well, it was Lucy with the football, you guys, because he is now saying he's coming back for one more season. And this comes right after someone bought his quote unquote last touchdown football for $518,000. I cannot make this shit up, you guys. That is so much money. And obviously it's not going to be his last touchdown football, most likely. So, yeah, funny, tragic. I don't know. This could go a lot of different directions, but he faked everyone out with this one. And then last but not least, with our little quick updates here at the top, despite the fact that Trump seems to be running his presidential campaign already, there are several other prominent Republicans who have now hinted at presidential runs. Some of whom have been critical of President Trump in recent years, such as Liz Cheney, Larry Hogan, and Adam Kinzinger. But a few Trump loyalists have also been rumored to be eyeing the candidacy should Trump be unable to run for some reason. And that would be Chris Christie, Mike Pence, of course, and Ron DeSantis. I think it's safe to say that given how much legal trouble Trump is facing right now from like 10 different directions, it is certainly possible that we will see somebody other than him get the Republican backing for 2024. Stay tuned. And now we'll go ahead and jump into all of the news about Ukraine. So first up, artillery strikes continue and accelerate, and Russia fires on a train. So yesterday morning, just days after days and days of severe fighting, artillery strikes intensified around Kyiv. On top of that, a train leaving eastern Ukraine came under Russian fire as well, and it was filled with civilians, you guys. Luckily, it was only the conductor who was killed on the train and one woman injured. But everyone else, including over 100 children, were left stranded in the snow. And next up, Russians are fleeing now too. So a lot of Russians are actually now fleeing to places like Istanbul mostly. This is because they worry that their borders will be closed soon, and a lot of Russians have actually lost access to their livelihoods because of all the major companies pulling out of Russia. Somewhere in the neighborhood of tens of thousands of Russians have now left. The waits to cross some borders are taking hours. And next up, China has entered the chat. Will China officially align itself with Russia? This is the partnership that has the entire world fearful right now. And it appears that Russia may be officially asking China to help supply them with funds and ammunition, as well as military machinery like tanks, in the same way that the West is helping to supply Ukraine with those same things. China initially believed that they could stay kind of untangled from the war and just continue focusing on their own economy and kind of, scoop past everyone else. But as it turns out, this war is affecting the entire world's economy already, and now China is being directly tapped to get involved. But the U.S. was quick to respond to all of these rumors. Biden's national security advisors immediately met with China's top officials yesterday in Rome and made it very clear that they would consider China backing Russia an affront to the United States and all of our allies around the world. But they feel that China has already signaled a yes to Russia, that they would help. In which case, Biden is considering traveling to Europe himself to meet with our key allies to formulate a plan. And honestly, this type of step would seriously look and feel a lot like a world war, with so many of the world's top powers focused on one conflict. The biggest thing the global community is on the lookout for right now, though, is chemical and biological weaponry being used against the Ukrainian people. But China is already beginning to echo a lot of these false rumors and propaganda that Russia is circulating, claiming that the U.S. is actually helping Ukraine manufacture biological and chemical weapons. Russia supports other countries that use these type of weapons, such as Syria. And in the event of a world war, it is very possible that some Middle Eastern countries who have beef with the U.S. would also align themselves with a Russia-China team. And next up, Zelensky will give a virtual address to U.S. Congress. So just as a heads up to you guys, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, President Zelensky of Ukraine will be addressing the U.S. Congress. He's already given a rallying speech to the British Parliament, quoting their famed Shakespeare. I suspect his address to our legislative body will be just as moving. Stay tuned. And next up in the way of updates, Fox News journalist is injured outside of Kyiv. So just days after another American journalist was shot and killed in Ukraine, Fox News's Benjamin Hall was injured in a similar area, a suburb outside of Kyiv. Once again, the press has minimal details about the situation and whether he was targeted for being American or a journalist or whether he was just caught up in all the violence. We just don't know. But now this makes two American journalists being potentially targeted. But we don't know much beyond the fact that he is hurt and he is hospitalized. But we will definitely keep you guys posted if we hear anything more about these two situations. And last up for today, virtual peace talks this time. So Russia yesterday and Ukraine met again for peace talks, but this time they did so virtually. Now, you guys know that I've been pretty pessimistic about these talks so far, but this set of talks seemed to strike a different tone. Ukrainian officials who attended these talks seem to think that some quote-unquote concrete results could be reached within days. What's responsible for this 180? I'm really not sure. It's a potential that Russia feels cornered, feels like they're not going to be able to win this war. But it may not be real. at the end of the day, Russian leadership is just not very trustworthy. This has been proven over and over again long before this situation, but definitely in this situation. Remember the ceasefire fake out, etc. But at the same time, we have to hope that peace is possible. So definitely stay tuned on these talks as well. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "When you attack, it will be our faces you see, not our backs." If you enjoyed this episode, please consider becoming a patron of our podcast. For $7.99 a month, you can unlock tons of perks like breaking news text messages so that you're never out of the loop. Tons of bonus episodes are already up there ready for you to binge, and a discussion board full of networking opportunities and much more. Go to www.patreon.com/sugarfreemedia today to become a patron. This is the best way to support our show. Our patrons make News du Jour possible. But a couple other ways to support our podcast are rate and review on whatever podcast platform you use to listen, share on your social media, you have influence, tell your friends, family, and colleagues that you love News du Jour and why you listen. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram, just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok, and sugarfree_media on Twitter. We also have a weekend newsletter called Dreamers Digest that's full of dreamy content recommendations for your weekend and a life update from yours truly. Sign up today on our website, www.sugarfreemedia.co. Our music is by Joey Lavoie and Nicholas Foster. Our cover art is by Hannah Pierce Photography. Our Sugar Free Media logo is by Catherine Jezik Designs. Any twinkling or little footsteps you might hear in the background are by my dog, Rhett. He's a rescue pup and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.